Hello there, I have here another example problem regarding tests of significance, so let's just jump right into it. The label on bottles of laundry detergent claims the bottles contain 40.1 ounces of detergent. There is, however, some variability in the filling process. The amount of laundry detergent per bottle is known to follow a normal distribution with a standard deviation 0.6 ounces. A consumer advocate believes the true mean content per bottle is less than the advertised amount. We take a sample of 27 bottles and measure the content. The mean amount of detergent for these 27 bottles is calculated to be 39.81 ounces. We would like to conduct a hypothesis test at the 1% level of significance to test the consumer advocate's suspicion. What are the hypotheses for the appropriate hypothesis test? Now, this first question is just asking what is the null hypothesis. That's denoted as being H0. It wants to know what the null hypothesis is, and it wants to know what the alternative hypothesis is. The null hypothesis would be the mean 0, or this is how you would denote the population null hypothesis. That one equaling 40.1 ounces. Our alternative hypothesis would have to be the true mean of the population being less than what they're saying it is. So these are the two things we're going to be testing, the hypotheses. So this is the answer to the first question. Or to write this in a different way, you could say the actual mean being less than 40.1. That's what we're going to be testing. Now the next question is, the test statistic rounded to 2 decimal places for the appropriate hypothesis test is... So what is the test statistic? Well, to calculate that, we're going to need the x bar, or the sample mean, subtract the null hypothesis, divided by the standard deviation of the sample, which we can calculate by doing the standard deviation of the population, divided by the square root of our sample size. That would give us our test statistic we're going to be using. It's just a matter of plugging in the data now. Looking at the question, we can see we have a null hypothesis as known being 40.1, so we have a 40.1 here. The sample mean is given as being 39.81. Standard deviation being 0.6, divided by the square root of the sample size as given 27. The outputted z-score would be -2.51. This is our test statistic. And as you can see, that is what we actually got here. Therefore, we know we are correct. Moving right along then, the next question is, what is the p-value of this test? Because we are looking for a value that is less than our alternative hypothesis, we are testing to see if it's actually less than the null hypothesis. Because we're doing that, all we have to do is look at the standard normal probability table and get the associated probability with or from this z-score right here, the -2.51 we got. Jumping right into the standard normal probability table, we have to find the associated probability to the z-score we just got, or the test statistic, you can also call it. The value we are looking for is -2.51. Here is -2. The 1 would be located right here, crossing them down. We have a value of 0.0060. And as you can see in the actual question, this is the answer. That is the p-value. Now the last question. What is the correct conclusion of the test? Well, we know that the p-value is 0.060, and so this would be the p-value. And it states in the question that we are doing a 1% level of significance. 1% is 0.01, and doing a qualitative analysis, looking at these two, we can clearly see that this one here is significantly less. And whenever we have a smaller p-value than the level of significance test we're actually doing, that tells us we have enough evidence to suggest that our claim is true, that the alternative hypothesis is true and the null hypothesis is wrong. In the context of the question, we could say that the average detergent amount is actually less than 40.1, and it could be closer to 39.81 or so. Therefore, we would reject the null hypothesis in favor of possibly the alternative hypothesis we were talking about. And such, this is the conclusion to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I will answer your questions, and I hope you are having a nice day.